What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode in this series. In the previous videos, we designed the architecture, created the Azure foundation, and built a networking layer with subnet segmentation and network security groups. In this video, we are moving into the compute layer of the environment by deploying our first virtual machine inside the network we created. This virtual machine will represent our application server and will be deployed into the server subnet that we configured in the previous episode. The goal here is to demonstrate how workloads should be deployed into a properly structured and secure Azure environment. Without further introduction, let's get this thing going. Alrighty, so we're going to create a virtual machine now. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to create the virtual machine inside the networking resource group that we created. From here, we're going to go to create, and from create, we're going to type in virtual machines inside the network place, inside the marketplace. Virtual machines are essential for where people need to do work and be able to do it in a secure environment, so virtual machines is the best place to do it. So we're going to leave everything the same right here, and for the virtual machine name, we're going to type in BP VM app production 01. And the reason why we're naming it specifically like that is because we're going to make sure we keep up the naming consistency with everything. The BP represents the organization, the VM indicates the resource type, the app identifies the workload role, and the production identifies the environment. So we're going to leave this the same, the image type. You can generate multiple images or for whatever, let's just say, environment you want to configure, but for this purpose, I'm going to just leave it as this one, the first one right here. Now the size I'm going to switch it to D_2SV3. So as you can see right here, you choose the base operating system or the application for that VM. So when you load up the virtual machine, whatever you choose right here will determine how the virtual machine looks and how the virtual machine operates. So we're going to go right there. Now, when you're setting up the administrator account, you have two options of how you want to sign in. You can either have the SSH public key or you can have the password. So the SSH public key is, let's just say I generate a web link for you. And from that web link, I send you the web link and I send you the key. So all you have to do is copy and paste the key in there to be able to access the virtual machine. However, if I select the password, I would make a username and password for you. Or you can tell me what username and password you want, and then you go from there. So you have the option either or. So, but for this purpose, we're gonna just leave it on SSH key. For the username, I'll put VM new user 01. And for the key pair, I'm gonna say generate new key. For selected ports are how do I want people to access the virtual machine. It can either be through SSH, port 22, HTTPS, which is port 443, HTTP, which is port 80. But for this, I'm going to just leave it at SSH. Next, I'm going to go to the networking tab. We'll come back to this in a second. And we're going to leave this for BP VNet here. And then for the subnet, we're going to leave it for server subnet. For the network security group, we're going to leave it as none for right now. We'll come back to that. And we're going to leave everything else as default. So this ensures that the VM sits in the corrected segmented network zone. A public IP address was created so that we can connect to the server for administration. However, access is still controlled by the network security group that is attached to the subnet. And because of that, email traffic is restricted and only allowed from approved sources. This design significantly reduces the attack surface of the environment. Now, before we finish the deployment, we're going to add a data disk here. So the best way to think about data disk is essentially a backup of the operating system, and you can choose what kind of backup you want. So we're going to go down here to create and attach a new disk. We're going to change this name to BP-data-app-production -001. Again, the reason why I'm naming it like this is we want to make sure we keep up naming consistency. And from here, from the source type, you have options. The source type creates a disk from a snapshot or another disk. So I can basically choose what I want. I can have either a storage blob, or a snapshot. But for the purpose of this, I'm gonna just leave it as none right now. And then for the key management, you have platform managed key, or customer managed key. Essentially, what that is I can leave it as platform and let Azure rotate my keys, or the customer, which is me in the business, and we can rotate the keys however much we like. We will probably have to set a policy for that. So, but for this, we're going to use platform managed key, and we're going to press OK. Using a separate data disk allows application data to be stored independently from the operating system disk. This approach improves backup flexibility and simplifies recovery scenarios. Now, I will deploy the virtual machine. So we're going to go to review and create. And as you can see, we're going to go down here, make sure everything is right. And we're going to hit create. So as you can see here, I will have to download the private key. And from the private key, which is right here, I will just put it into the notepad. I don't want to open it up just for the purpose of me having that virtual machine up right now, and you don't want to expose it. But I will open that notepad and the key would be inside there. So as this virtual machine is being created, and once it's created, I can then send it off to somebody and then give them the key as well. At this point, we now have a working workload running inside of our structure environment. The virtual machine is not deployed into an open network. Instead, it sits inside a segmented subnet with traffic controlled by network security groups. This layer approach helps ensure that workloads are deployed into a controlled, secure architecture from the beginning. If this was a real client environment, deploying compute resources will only have happened after governance controls and network segmentation are already in place. This prevents workloads from being deployed into an unstructured or overly exposed network environment. At this stage, we now have the compute layer successfully deployed. In the next video, we will begin implementing storage and backup solutions to protect this workload and make the environment more resilient. Each phase of this series builds on the last to demonstrate how a secure Azure environment should be designed and implemented from the ground up. Until next time, see you all later.